Kia ora koutou and welcome to this week's live, first live of 2020. Happy New Year. I'm back from the UK, as you can tell, recovering, getting better slightly, and so glad to be back in the sun, even in Wellington. And so I wanted to take the opportunity to jump on a live this week, my first week back in the office, and talk about switching off. Because I'm conscious we're all coming off the back of summer breaks. Some of you may be already back at work or not quite yet. And the idea of having our summer break is that we take some downtime, some switching off. And that's something I'd promised myself. So I'd said I didn't take my laptop to the UK. I said I was going to enjoy being with my family and being present. As it turns out, I got sick. So even if I'd have wanted to work, I couldn't. my brain was all a fog. I think I probably took more medication in the 2 weeks over Christmas and New Year than I had done the whole year. And here's the thing though, I found it really difficult to switch off. So I love my job, that might be one of the reasons, but it is increasingly difficult in this society that we have where busyness is the norm and doing is what we do, to actually not do anything and to take some time and switch off. So one of the things I've been reflecting on is, one, why that is so necessary, but two, why it's so uncomfortable. And it surprised me particularly because, hey, look, I should know better. I've meditated for a decade. I've travelled around the world and studied mindfulness with some of the leading experts across the globe. And so I know this stuff. I teach this stuff. Yet I still found it difficult. And that's why I wanted to share this today with you, because you may have experienced something similar in your breaks. And the thing is, when we take some downtime, when we switch off, we're so used to being on, we're so used to being busy, and we're so used to distractions that the absence of that has become abnormal. So we look for it. So for me, ideas were ticking over in my head, even though I wasn't supposed to be working. And my fingers would get twitchy and I'd reach for my phone. And the other thing about stopping is that sometimes it's uncomfortable to be alone with our own thoughts, and things come up for us that we've perhaps been ignoring all year. And so this was a really interesting observation, especially when we think about how busyness is glorified in our society and our attachment to busy and self-worth. You know, we have this need to be productive. So when we're sitting doing nothing, we can feel counterproductive and a little bit useless. And this goes against all the things that we're taught and the message that society sells us. I'm just going to let that plane go over so that it's not too noisy. But here's the thing, having that downtime and switching off means that one of the things I've also noticed is coming back to the office this week, I'm so much more alert. I've got creative space in my brain, I've got space to think, and I've got ideas coming up, and I'm fresh and I feel good, and little irritants are not irritants anymore. And that's the power of having that downtime and switching off. But also those thoughts that we don't want to be alone with, they've been there all the time, festering away. And it's only when we stop and pay attention and notice them that we can do something about them. So whilst it might feel uncomfortable, switching off and taking that downtime and having time to just be and not do, it's so critical to help us recharge and renew. And that's certainly what I'm finding first week back at the office, albeit post jet lag, once the jet lag had worn off earlier this week. So what's happening? We today have just done our goal setting webinar at lunchtime. If you were registered for that, then you'll have received an email with the replay. If you didn't manage to make it live, there is a replay. If you didn't manage to register that, if you hadn't seen it and you wish you had, then just shoot me a message, direct message me, and I will send you the link to the replay of that goal setting webinar. We spent 40 minutes today talking about all the top tips and good goal setting advice to set you up for 2020. So if you want a part of that, I will pop it in the comments below. The other thing that's happening, we have Imposter Syndrome Summer School kicking off on Monday night in Wellington. This is exciting. It's the first time we've done it, and it's a real deep dive into imposter syndrome. So a bit deeper than the content we've had previously. Last year, if you've been to the workshops, you'll know what I mean. This is not just about imposter syndrome and the theory behind it and how to handle it, although that'll be a massive part. It's also about the neuroscience around mindset, how we handle perfectionism, how we deal with fear and failure, to make sure that we have the confidence we need to succeed, whether that be at work, at life, in business, all of the above. So I have a few spaces left on that. It starts on Monday, Wellington CBD, 5:30, so just after work, and we're doing that for 4 weeks. So it'd be an ideal opportunity to have a small group coaching session, ongoing, ask your questions, and really get to apply all of this stuff to your own imposter syndrome and boost your confidence. So looking forward to that next week, and great to be back in the office. If you're back in the office this week, I hope that's going well. If you're not back until next week, then good luck. Mā te wā.